let's talk about this Dodgers series. The Dodgers are going to be coming off of a pretty brutal stretch not a brutal stretch, but a tough series against the Mets where they split that series. They won the first two, then lost the last two in that series. Padres, meanwhile, are coming off of a sweep against the Giants. So, heading in this series, the Padres have been non-competitive against the Dodgers lately. It has been really, really rough for this Padres team when they've played the Dodgers. But let's take a look at the matchup. So Friday you got Darvish versus Dustin May. That's a big oof right there. Dustin May's nasty, bro. And then Saturday is the guy we were just talking about, Sean Manaea against Julio Urias. And then Sunday is Clev against Heaney. So what are your first thoughts on this? And we'll talk more about overall, and then we can make predictions at the end. But what are you thinking about this series just in terms of like a matchup standpoint?
Matchup standpoint. Pitching matchups? That's an L, bro. Sean Manaea is an L. I always feel really confident in you, Darvish, going against the Dodgers. You guys, for anyone who's been listening for a while, and Matt and Chase, they know whenever you Darvish is pitching against the Dodgers, I always feel very, very confident that he'll be able to give us at least a quality start, that he'll be able to go 6 or 7 and allow minimum 3 runs, and he's going to give us a chance to win. I always feel confident in that. Now you're facing Dustin May, who's amazing. Dustin May is nothing short of amazing, and he's given us fits for a really, really long time. Or ever since he came into the league, he's been giving us fits. So I'm very scared of that matchup. I mean, you're kind of right. I feel like you should kind of throw Manaea on Friday, and maybe you'll have a better performance off Urias. And I understand Urias has been really good since the All-Star break, but we also don't do too bad against Urias, I feel like. So I definitely feel like you're right in that aspect, but nonetheless, they're going Darvish against May and Manaea against Urias. And obviously that Saturday one, I don't feel confident at all. I feel pretty confident in Sunday that, Clevenger hasn't been his best version of himself, but hopefully he's finally able to. And I feel like the big thing with him has been location. He just keeps missing his spots with his fastball sometimes, and it's killing him, especially because he doesn't have the best movement on his fastball. He doesn't have crazy velocity. So whenever he misses, it does tend to punish him. But hopefully he's able to figure that out. I feel confident that we'll win Sunday. I think we're just going to win Sunday. I will say I think we're just going to win Sunday just based off the pitching matchups. But who knows, man? The Padres just crushed 2 aces, one of them being one of the best aces in baseball. They're going into the series hot, and we had both kept saying, you want to catch this is the best chance you have. You're catching the Dodgers at such a good time. You're coming off you won 5 of the last 6, and they just played a very tough series in New York where it was 2 1-run ball games and then 1 2-run ball game, which in the 8th inning they had a chance to tie it up. So 2 very tough ball games, and they're flying in tonight. It's like an 8-hour flight, something I saw earlier. You're catching them at a really good time, so hopefully they're able to capitalize on that, man. This is your best chance to beat them.
Yeah, so I think you should go into this one chalking up Saturday as a loss. I think that one's going to be a loss. I would be very surprised if the Padres win that one. Now, would that be an amazing surprise? Yes, that would be awesome if Manaea got the dub on Saturday. But looking at Friday, I think it's a little bit interesting because we bring up how good Dustin May is. And Czar asked, May's coming off Tommy John. Don't be so confident he's the same guy. No, dude, he's the same guy, bro. I've seen him pitch a little bit. He's disgusting. However, he's not being stretched out that much. He's probably pitching 6 innings
6
max.
innings.
They're not throwing him that much. So we've talked about this before when the Padres match up against the Dodgers, but they need to get pitch counts high on these guys.
Yes.
Gratterall also just went to the IL. Like the Dodgers bullpen, the Dodgers whole pitching staff is pretty banged up right now, actually. So if game 1 of the series, you're coming off an off day, they're just coming off of a tough stretch in New York. They're just flying home, right? You got to go out there and you got to win on Friday. You have to take that game. If you take that game, I still don't think you're winning Saturday. No. You can take Sunday. You could take 2 out of 3. I think this is going to be a series where the Padres are either going to win 1 or they're going to win 2. I don't think they're going to get swept. I think they're playing really well. I don't think the Dodgers are. I think this is a tough spot for the Dodgers, but this is one where you really want to take 2 out of 3 because this would be good. This would be a nice momentum booster. You played them next weekend too, actually in San Diego that time. But then you also play the Diamondbacks next week, and the Diamondbacks are randomly really hot right now.
Yes.
So you got to start and that's why I think that Giants series was really nice to see the sweep, but you got to win this series. So a lot of the Padres or the Dodgers pitching is kind of banged up. I see CV comments. Gonsolin's hurt too. Yeah, Gonsolin's hurt. Bueller's out for the year. That's been known for a little while. I think Kershaw just came back today.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you got to win. I think you got to win against May, and even if you can't hit May that well, if you can get May out of the game early, I still think that you can turn that game into a win because Darvish can go late in games. Darvish can give you 7 potentially if he's on. That's the big thing. But if he gives you 7 and it's a 1-0 ball game or 2-1 ball game, either way, going into the 6th inning or something when they have to pull May, you can feel confident that you might take that one. And so that's why I think you got to start the series off. Their bullpen, I don't know how it's looked over the past few days, but they've just played 4 consecutive games. I think they've played 7 consecutive games actually. So their bullpen's probably not that well rested. So yeah, you got to go out there. You got to win this game on Friday, and if you don't win Saturday, then you come up on Sunday, and I think you have the advantage in that one. I think Clev is better. I know that last time, if you look at the box score, it's like, oh, Clev got rocked against the Dodgers. But it's like, all right, dude, there's 2 pitches that he hung, and that was it. And that was the thing. They were both sliders in the middle of the plate, and it was his last. One of them was his last pitch of the game. So you take away. I mean, I guess that's fair, but I don't know. I just don't think he looked bad. It wasn't like Manaea's start where Manaea looks like he's still in batting practice out there. Clef still looked pretty solid. So I think you can take 2. I don't know if they will take 2, but you can take 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at with this series, but I think it's going to be a good one, except for Saturday. I don't want to watch that game. Maybe.
Yeah, and I have this feeling that for some reason Sean Manaea is going to ball, but I really hope he does, man. I'm not praying on his downfall. I like Sean Manaea, but I'm trying to be realistic. I think one point you brought up that was the best thing you said for sure, easily, is that the difference between the Padres and the Dodgers these series, right, is every time we have one of our aces up, they get them out in 5 innings because they have such good competitive at-bats up there. Whereas the Padres, they get Tony Gonsolin, or the Dodgers get Tony Gonsolin up there. They get Tyler Anderson up there. And it's just 3 pitches, you're done. 3 pitches, you're done. It's very consistent. They're not able to rack up the pitch count. That has been the biggest difference. Is they get our aces out in 5, we get their aces out in 7. That has been the biggest difference for sure. And that's why you're seeing us get our asses kicked by them, because they have such good competitive at-bats to the point where it gets to the point where it's all right. They're fouling off so many pitches. It's a full count. I unfortunately have to pound the zone now. And then they take advantage and hit a 3-run bomb the way Max Muncy did. That's been their advantage against us. So that was a really good point that you brought up for sure. I'm really glad you brought that up. But I'll take 1 win in this series if I'm being completely honest. I will take 1 win because at this point, we know it's not a rivalry at this point. We're not competing with the Dodgers for the NL West. We're competing with the Phillies and the Brewers for the 5th and the 6th spot. We need. I mean, it doesn't really matter. We need to beat them. We need to beat them. We need to beat the Dodgers. We need to hope the other guys lose. I mean, that's really the only way. We have no chance of division anymore. So, I feel like there's not really any added pressure in the fact that you're facing the Dodgers. I feel like the Padres have always kind of pressed when they face the Dodgers. But now I feel like you got to play loose baseball because you're not against them specifically anymore. You're against 2 other teams that are vying for playoff hopes that unfortunately have a much easier schedule than we do. So just go out there. They're playing very loose, fun baseball right now, some very team-oriented baseball. Have competitive at-bats. I think that's going to be the biggest key to winning these games. Dustin May has, I think in his last outing, went 6. You want to get him out in 5. You want to get him out in 5, ideally. So, and get to that bullpen that's a little banged up right now. Same thing with Urias. You want to get him out in 6. Hopefully you get him out in 6. That's going to be the biggest key to Padres' victory, though, man. And I feel like they were able to do that against Rodon. They were able to do that against maybe not Webb so much, but they were able to get to them. So hopefully we see the same of that, a little more of that.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna be big, and that's why I was emphasizing that first game of the series, because I feel like that's kind of like, all right, we got the win in the first game. Because also, if you look at these series, most of the time the Padres have got smoked in the first game. Like the first game was like, oh, dude, you got destroyed. So I think that's why I think that like that specific game is a big one for me. But yeah, you're right. May pitched 6 innings last game. He actually had a quality start. He went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs, and he was going against Sandy Alcantara. So he ended up getting the L in that one. Rough because he's been pitched. He's only pitched 2 games so far since coming back from Tommy John. But yeah, that was that. I mean, he still looked good. That's the thing. So I think you got to get him out and get that bullpen early, because I just mentioned how many games they had played. Like, dude, if you can start kind of getting into the bullpen early on, all of a sudden that Saturday and Sunday game, if you can maybe get those starters out decently early, you might be in a spot where you have an advantage. Maybe not the Saturday one as much, unless you brought up you feel like Mania might flip the switch or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll happen, but yeah, I don't know. I think this is one of the better series in terms of matchups. Like, dude, last time the Padres matched up against the Dodgers, we looked at the lineup and was like, dude, they might lose all of these games. This is a horrible spot to be in, and they were playing terrible. They were in a horrible slump. So this time around, I think it's a little bit different of that. But yeah, they have not played the Dodgers well over the past year of baseball, I would say.
Yes.
Early 2021 played them really, really well, and that was when the Padres were playing their best. And lately, they haven't quite been there. So I think getting a series win is definitely the goal. Taking 2 out of 3, I think that'd be huge just for moving forward throughout this kind of postseason, push. But if you take 1 out of 3, I think that's pretty realistic. I think that's probably the most realistic in this series, is that you take one of either Friday or Sunday. But taking both of those days would go a long way. But Isaac, anything else you got?
If you're able to take 2 or 3, man, we always say the hottest team wins. It's important to get hot at the right time. If you're able to get hot starting now, I mean, no better way to head into the playoffs. So just beat them. Go beat them, man. I feel like like I said earlier, I feel like they pressed so much against the Dodgers, knowing that, they want that rivalry. They want to beat them so bad. And now, like I said earlier, there should be no pressure. You're not facing your rival anymore. This is just another competitor. Unfortunately, it's the best team in baseball, but this is just another competitor for right now until the playoffs. Hopefully you see him in the playoffs, but for right now, I hope they play some loose baseball, man. I mean, I feel confident in Darvish and Clevenger to be able to go out there and help us win, keep us in those ball games. Bullpen's going to be able to do his job. I mean, this day off was as clutch as it can get, knowing that Martinez gets 2 days off in a row. Garcia only had to face 1 batter yesterday. Josh Hader gets his day off. I mean, very clutch for this day off for sure. Seems like the Padres don't get a lot of those where it's like, oh, nice, we have a day off after a day the bullpen is taxed. So it's good for us to be able to have one right now. Other than that, though, let's go beat LA, man. I really think they're going to do it. I really think they're going to have me at least once. And considering the way that we've been playing the Dodgers lately, I would take once for sure. So, I mean, let's go beat them, man, for sure.
All right. I like that. But yeah, I think that's probably going to do it for today's episode. So thank you guys for hopping on. We're going to clip this Dodgers segment later on here too. So that'll be popping up. This is from the live on Thursday night. And we'll also be going live Sunday after the final game of the series against the Dodgers. So we will see you guys all then. Thanks for joining us tonight, and have a great rest of your night.